Good morning and welcome back to Diving Deep into Eberron here on Gaming with ADHD. And I think I probably spoke a little bit too soon. I gotta really figure out those intro videos and stuff like that. Make it all cool and professional right, Seraphis?
Boobs.
Boobs. Anyways, good morning, buddy. How you doing today?
I mean, as we were just talking about offline, great Eberron news lately. Just fantastic. Really can't wait for that.
Wait, there's new Eberron stuff happening? I mean, I haven't seen any new Eberron stuff since 4th edition.
4th edition? I didn't know there's stuff that came out for 4th edition.
Okay, I was being generous. Actually,
4th edition.
Actually, I will. Okay, real quick, folks. They're putting out. They announced a. We're just gonna chat a little bit while we wait for more people to come in. They announced a new Eberron. Well, they announced a second new Eberron book coming later this year. Basically, they're going to do a book to update Eberron for 5.5. But it's still a supplemental book, so it's not rewriting. What is it? Fires of the Last War, or whatever it was called. Or Rise of the Last War. So anyway, whatever it was.
Rising from the Last War.
Rising from the Last War. There we go.
I think.
Anyways.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. I have the book. It still annoys me. But we were both ranting about the N-World announcement says the book includes some changes, evolutions of Eberron lore. Notably, dragon-marked houses are no longer species-locked, with characters able to join the houses later in life. It's Wizards. I was so excited to get the Rising from the Last War book. I literally don't care about this one. Yes, Seraphis.
Actually, reread that line again.
Notably, dragon-marked houses are no longer species-locked, with characters able to join the houses later in life.
Did you pick up on that? So they're not species-locked, and you can join the houses later in life, implying that the dragon marks are now something that are bestowed upon you from the house.
I'm not going to go that far. I think it's just like you don't have to grow up in the house. Yeah, because think about it, you could be in the guild and not the house, but you could be. I don't know.
I don't think they're going that way. I think they're going to go completely PC on this. Not that I want to get dragged into American terminology and that woke bullshit, whatever shit, but it reeks of that stupidity.
Oh, absolutely. As far I don't know. I at first I saw, new Eberron book. Okay, I'll suck it up for 5.5, even though I don't care, just because it's a new Eberron book, and I can't do it.
See, here's my thing. For the most part, it's the mechanics in it are basically just going to be a rehash of the previous one with just updated points where new mechanics come into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lore stuff is basically completely changing the setting again.
Right.
And quite frankly, since you brought it up anyway, 4th edition was already a fucking crap catastrophe of, oh, look, a staff of artifice. What does it do? It enhances your summoning ability. I'm an artificer. What fucking summoning am I doing?
Well, actually, I did read somewhere. I'm not sure if it was in the actual article or if it was just in comments, but I did see something saying that they were actually going to turn the dragon marks back into feats, though. So I'll give them that one.
Oh, wow. Tales of the Valiant already did that. They're not getting points for being late to the party. Okay.
That's fair. Well, and it's like we've talked about, the whole time we've been doing this deep dive. Like, Eberron was designed for 3.5. The feat system was great for the dragon marks, and I think it was a fantastic way to add that in. But yeah, anyways, there we go. All right, should we get this thing started, or do we want to rant some more?
I mean, I can rant some more. That news is just the absolute fucking worst.
Anyways, coming in 4832, we'll cover 5th edition Eberron. Let's get that joke out of the way.
Oh, no, we will. And it will be me with a book and a lighter. And the glowing joy of fire in my eyes as I watched the goddamn thing burn because it contributed nothing to the setting.
Yeah, we know they are. Malachi says Koravar are being considered as a separate species. We know.
Also, Koravar, you removed the eye.
Huh?
Koravar, they basically rearranged a couple of letters and removed the eye.
Oh. Again, you're not selling me on it. It's just more, oh, well, we can't do half elves anymore.
Hey, do you know who does half elves?
Tales of the Valiant?
Yes. Do you know who does half orcs and half races?
Tales of the Valiant?
Yes. What's funny about that? It's almost like they want you to have choice in the traditional way that you would play a fucking fantasy game.
Or might one say bioessentialism? Like, hey, we've got, elves and humans, breeding together. Well, if you're going to say they're different, if you're going to say they're different species, but they're able to breed with each other, maybe you've got some sort of new species that comes about. But no, can't do that anyway. Whatever. All right, we need to get off of this. We are ranting hard.
That's because it was shit news and you decided to bring it up.
I did. That's why we're going to stick with 3rd edition and any notes from Keith Baker. We'll call that a win. So, all right, folks. So, yes, this is the Diving Deep live stream. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. All that fun YouTube-y stuff. Links down in the description for Drive-Thru RPG or Amazon if you want to pick these books up yourself. If you can find the books for this, but that's a separate issue. All right. So, I suppose I should change my screen around. Oh, I suppose I should get right back to the actual page. Malachi says that he already did subscribe and hit the like button. What's something new we can get Malachi to do?
Don't subscribe to my channel.
Oh yeah, go subscribe to Seraphis' channel, everyone. He's almost to 70 subscribers.
Almost.
Last I looked, you were 68. You'd gone up by 2.
Well,
come on, the land of make-believe needs some help, folks.
No, my analytics currently say 70 subscribers.
70? You've hit 70?
Yep.
Come on, folks. 30 more. 30, like all of you in chat.
All Malachi of you.
All Malachi of you in chat. All right. Anyhow, let's do this. Actually, I'm going to do something real quick. Just because. There we go. All right. So today we're going to be covering different organizations running an Eberron campaign, and actually we're going to see how far we can get. I have dreams to try and finish this book. It might happen one day. Let me dream, Seraphis.
Fine.
Let me dream.
Dream. The impossible dream.
All right. Starting with organizations. What the heck?
What?
Oh, just my drive-through app on my computer is being dumb. All right. Organizations in an Eberron campaign. Where's stupid Windows. All right.
In the Eberron campaign, heroes may have to contend with intrigue and treachery as often as with the claws and fangs of monsters. The descriptions that follow represent only a few of the many cults and cabals that operate across Corvair and beyond. Some can be used as patrons for adventurers, others as opponents. More often, any of these can be allies one day and competitors and opponents the next. Ha!
Thank you for covering me. Oh my gosh, the ADHD just like spiked all of a sudden. All right, do you want
I had a feeling so.
Do you want to go with the first one, or you want me to take it?
I can go with the first one. I will say I do want to cover one when it comes up. I'll point out when it does though. So
fair enough. You've got dibs on anyone you want to do.
Yep. Okay, the Aurum, a shadowy alliance of some of the wealthier citizens of Corvair, uses the power of gold and platinum to increase its influence across the continent. From its headquarters in Krona Peak in the Moor Holds, this organization espouses the lawful evil point of view and keeps its true intentions highly secret. It's the Illuminati. The Aurum once was born in the Moor Holds, even before the last war and the Dwarves' Declaration of Independence. Various members of the powerful clans had joined together in a secret fraternity designed to increase the wealth and power of its members. With the collapse of Galifar and the rise of the Dwarf Nation, the members of the Aurum began to look beyond the Ironroot Mountains. Guildmasters, crime lords, merchant princes, nobles, and members of the dragon-marked houses, among others, joined the secret society, and slowly it became more than a simple fraternity. Between the influx of new blood and the devastation of the last war came a rush of new ideas, which resulted in a new sense of purpose for the Cabal. The Aurum hides its true activities from the world. It claims to be an innocent society for wealthy students of history. Many of its members have impressive personal collections of rare historical tomes and relics of ancient civilizations. Many members of the Aurum truly are interested in the past because they intend to shape the future. The organization is divided into 4 levels called concords: copper, silver, gold, and platinum. Higher rank provides a member with greater access to the resources of the Aurum and a greater voice in society meetings. Rank is based both on personal influence and services provided to the group. A powerful heir of a dragon-marked house joins the Gold Concord, while a minor guildmaster starts in the Copper Concord. In time, any member has the chance to advance to the Platinum Concord. Most members believe that the Platinum Concord manages the affairs of the Aurum, but the true masterminds of the conspiracy form an inner circle known as the Shadow Cabinet. The Shadow Cabinet exists outside the structure of the Concords and works to manipulate the nations of Corvair. Antis Soldarak chairs the Shadow Cabinet and also serves as the Chancellor of the Platinum Concord. The Aurum acts as a resource as opposed to an active force. Its members share knowledge to improve their personal fortunes or to defeat common rivalries. The hidden ministers of the Shadow Cabinet, however, believe that the aristocracy has no place running society. Kings and queens make excellent figureheads, but no individual nobles have the wisdom required to rule efficiently. The last war proves this assertion, and the leaders of the Aurum intend to see it that any future wars serve their own interests. To this end, they have been recruiting agents throughout the nations and the Dragonmark houses, targeting ambitious people with some amount of power and influence. Aurum Concordians wear a plain ring on each finger, 8 in all. Members of the Copper Concord wear copper rings, members of the Silver Concord wear silver rings, and so on. More a symbol of status than precious bauble, each ring has the same value as 10 coins fashioned from the same kind of metal.
Okay. So I was about to say that maybe it's more like, like Freemasons, but as we're going through, no, this is a little bit more sinister. So I'm going to go with you on Illuminati.
Yeah,
it's the Eberron Illuminati.
Yeah, this is like all those tech billionaire bros at
Davos
Trump at the inauguration, just like, oh god, like
yeah,
like you have ones that are like Bezos and Musk, who are like the new money dudes who got in there at like the gold level, and like because of who they are, what they've like,
No. According to this, they would be like copper level. Okay, yeah, you're in charge of like a big company, but yeah, that's all you've got going for you. We'll put you in at copper level.
But then you got like Tim Cook, who like, was there when Apple was founded and has like been progressing this whole time with it.
Right.
And, it's just like, yeah, no, he's up the top.
Right. Well, and actually that would be a good example of like, progressed, up through to the Shadow Council. And then, you could say like, I'll use this as an example. I'm not sure if you know who it is, but Mitch McConnell. So he's a big Republican senator.
The turtle. Yep.
Yeah, the turtle. Who's just like, he gets in there because he's a senator and has been there. Whatever. This is straight up Illuminati, and you can assign like all sorts of evil intent across all of this. Even their ALLE. Oh, alignment. Okay.
Lawful evil.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like typical Aurum Concordian, lawful evil. Yup.
Like they're evil, but there's rules and regulations you have to follow.
Exactly.
Just like a devil.
You're allowed to kill people according to the rules.
Exactly. And you need to sign the form in triplicate first. There's
Yeah.
there's none of this just random stuff.
If you don't submit the TPS report after any murder spree, you're just doing it wrong.
Exactly.
The council will come down on you. Speaking of, just good and wonderful organizations, the Blood of Vol. On the surface, the Blood of Vol appears to be an ancient religion devoted to the figurative and literal meaning of blood, the mysteries of heredity, death, and the undead. It consists of small groups of followers scattered across Corvair who know nothing about the true motives and goals behind the religion. They simply believe that blood is the source of life and that undeath is a path to divinity. Beneath the surface, the true horror of the Blood of Vol plots and schemes. The true followers, as opposed to the common folk who unknowingly help hide deceptions, revere the ancient lich Vol, self-proclaimed queen of the dead. The Blood of Vol flows into the distant past, to Arenal and Zendrick, the continent of secrets. A powerful necromancer, Vol seeks to manipulate bloodlines and revive the power of long-forgotten House Vol, the Mark of Death. Vol nurtures her schemes of conquest and revenge in the halls of Ilmaro Castle, in the frozen north of the Lazar Islands. In Karnath, her priests control the Crimson Monastery in Atur, the City of Night. Other strongholds, temples, and secret shrines are scattered throughout the continent, and one hides even in the ancient elf homeland of Arenal. 2,600 years ago, Vol was the heir to the fortunes of House Vol, whose members carried the Mark of Death. Her family attempted to mix elf and dragon blood to put an end to the wars that rocked both civilizations. Arandis de Vol was the result of these experiments, a half-dragon created from the arcane union of her elf mother and green dragon father. She was hidden and raised in secret as both House Vol and the Green Dragon sought to find a peaceful end to the conflict. However, the revelation of Arandis' existence had the opposite effect. Elf and dragon alike saw the mixing of the species as an abomination. Finally, the two sides came together on one issue. Half-dragons and the House of Vol had to be destroyed. As the Vol family was slaughtered, the matriarch used her powers over death to make sure her beloved daughter survived. Arandis became a lich, and now remains as the single memory of her family's ancient glory. She still bears the dragon mark of Vol upon her withered flesh, but without life within her, the mark is just decoration. She has not been able to invoke its power since the day she became an undead creature. Vol's plans have multiple facets and layers. She uses her loyal followers to gather information throughout the land, to whisper suggestions in the highest halls of government, and to watch for any sign that her family mark still flows through elf blood. She plots revenge against both the elves of Arenal and the dragons of Arganessen. She seeks to revive her family mark and take her place as a true god of Eberron. Vol's duped followers include many members of the common races from all walks of life. Her true followers include both living creatures and the sentient undead, and many of her most trusted priests are vampires, mummies, and liches willing to bow down before her. To further her plans, Vol created the Order of the Emerald Claw. Few know of the Order's connection to the Blood of Vol, seeing it simply as a fanatical Karnathi terrorist group. I like this. The fact that they just made this organization straight up as evil as possible.
There's a few things that they absolutely changed later on.
Like, hold on. 3rd edition change? Or, okay. Like in good
example,
ways or more evil?
Well, you know, dragon marks typically only have either neutral or beneficial effects, right?
Right.
So the mark of death isn't one that like harms. It's about death. It's about being able to see essentially people's life force, being able to resurrect the dead, with the air of Cerberus mark, things like that, right?
Sure.
At least that's according to Keith Baker's blog. So she may not properly realize it, but she actually can still harness a little bit of that power.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically it's control over death and resurrection, not necessarily just like, killing people.
Yeah. Like going to 3.5 spells and things like that, spell like abilities. You've got like Death Watch, which allows you to keep track of people in combat's health bars, essentially, to know how injured someone is. That's one of the abilities of the Death Mark. Of the Death Mark. Of the Mark of Death.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, like the Blood of Vol, just like that description, it's like, yeah, this is a horrible organization. They're going to be horrible, and they're just going to keep getting even more horrible. And it's just like, okay.
But it has if you had a good version of that organization, they would be really interesting as well. That's the interesting thing about it.
You know what? I think there is a good version of the organization.
If you say the Silver Flame, I'm going to shove it up.
What else would it be? What else would it be?
You know what's funny? You know what's funny?
Me.
Almost all of these organizations are evil. In fact, all of these organizations have a shred of evil to them all. Do you know what the next one after this is?
It is after the Chamber or after the Blood of Vol?
After the Chamber.
Oh, no, I don't. You assume I read and prepared for this. It's the Church of the Silver Flame.
Why are they here in organizations, Gerd?
Right, so do you want me to do the Chamber so that you can do the Church of the Silver Flame, or do you want me to do the Church of the Silver? No, I think I need to do the Church of the Silver Flame.
You should definitely do the Church of the Silver Flame.
All right, well, tell us about the Chamber then.
The Chamber consists of dragons from Arganessen who want to take more active role in the world, and their servants, many of whom don't realize they work for the dragons. This secret organization works for the emergence. Sorry, I am just there. This secret organization watches for the emergence of dragon marks on the lesser races and believes that the draconic prophecy should not just be studied and contemplated, but actively assisted so that its verses come to pass sooner rather than later. Which is very ironic for a race of dragons that can live for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, that they want things to happen quickly rather than wait for them, even though they can live the span to wait for them.
Well, but I mean, like if the point of the prophecy is, the dragons take over or whatever, because I mean, I don't think I haven't seen anywhere like, oh, this is what the prophet, like the end state of the prophecy is this, I mean, even if it's going to be years or hundreds or thousands of years in the future, maybe you still want to hasten the end time along. Not everybody makes rational choices.
Yeah, but if they want to hasten things along, maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, maybe the fucking dragons should have helped their kin, the Quattle, fight the damn devils, the Rakshasa, when the Age of Demons was happening, and not lost their entire brethren.
Look, that was 10,000 years ago. And we got the Church of the Silver Flame out of it, so it wasn't all bad.
There's a special place in hell for you,
I know there is.
The chamber was formed by younger Arganessen dragons who believed that the prophecy demanded their participation in the world beyond their continent. Older dragons reluctantly allow the chamber to exist, so long as it keeps a low profile and doesn't do anything to endanger the prophecy or the dragons themselves. To this end, dragons belonging to the chamber either watch the activities of the lesser races from afar or use magical means to disguise their true nature when they move about in the world of humans. The chamber has little structure or organization. Members share knowledge as warranted, even keeping dragons that aren't part of the group informed about their findings and observations. Some dragons of the chamber spend decades disguised as members of the lesser races, serving as advisors to kings or silent observers. Only when a chamber member reveals his true nature do the leaders of Arganessen take an interest in the group's activities. And if any dragon is believed to threaten the entire community, it is dealt with harshly. Members of the chamber or its agents among the lesser races may approach adventurers to help in some long-ranging scheme or plan to propel the prophecy forward. Most often, the adventurers never realize that their patron in such situation is a dragon.
Okay.
Interesting point. In Dragons of Eberron, there's a little comic page that has a chamber agent coming after another chamber agent. And the first one, because apparently the second one went rogue or stopped communicating in. And the first one basically came to kill the other one. And in doing so, began to reveal their draconic form, to which the other one, like the end of the panel, basically is the other one going, "You're going to regret this when the others find out." Which is like, it doesn't matter who wins or loses that fight. When the elders find out, the entire chamber is going to get smacked.
You know, it's all fun and games while the kids are playing until the grown-ups get involved. All right. Now, the only good organization listed in this section, the priests and paladins of the Silver Flame have battled the forces of darkness for hundreds of years. See? That's a good thing, Seraphis.
Oh, hundreds of years. That's adorable.
Hundreds.
Let's skip ahead a little bit and talk about the gatekeepers, shall we?
Hey, can I finish this section? Jump ahead and cover the gatekeepers. We'll get there. Jeez, man. All right. A relatively young religion, the Church of the Silver Flame has found staunch support across Corvair, especially in the nation of Thrain. This lawful good organization. See, lawful good. They obey the law and they do good things, Seraphis. Like destroy the lycanthropes.
Yeah, that's why a third of their organization is a Rakshasa Raja.
Or so you say.
So the part in the previous section said, thank you very much, mister.
This lawful good organization is based in the city of Flamekeep, under the leadership of Jayla Daran, the Keeper of the Flame. Members of the church carry a silver arrowhead engraved with a stylized flame. The Church of the Silver Flame was born in 299 YK when the paladin Tira Maron and a Quaddle merged with a silvery pillar of fire to stop a demon from escaping Kyber. Exactly. They stopped the demon. Stopped. Anyway, Tira now acts as the voice of the Silver Flame, serving as an intermediary between the common races and the divine. The current Keeper of the Flame, 11-year-old Jayla Daran, receives the powers and abilities of an 18th level cleric as long as she is within the confines of the city of Flamekeep, where the Silver Flame constantly burns. Beyond the proximity of the Pillar of Fire, she must rely on her own skills as a 3rd level cleric. Over the centuries, the Church of the Silver Flame has spread across Corvair. Its followers are engaged in a never-ending struggle against the forces of evil, also known as lycanthropes. They have also fought demons, hunted lycanthropes. Oh, okay, well, they repeat themselves, almost to extinction, and battled all manner of monsters. Corruption within the ranks, however, continues to be the organization's most relentless foe. See? Because they fight against even their own corruption. The Keeper of the Flame sits on the spiritual and temporal thrones of the church and nation. The next level in church hierarchy is the Council of Cardinals, which oversees the operations of both church and state. The church ministers provide spiritual guidance to the faithful, both in Thrain and abroad, battling evil by nurturing good. Church Templars consist of warriors, paladins, clerics, and exorcists trained to meet evil head-on with sword, mace, and spell. The Order's Cardinals sits on the Council of Cardinals, and his Templars protect Thrain, the churches, and religious holdings throughout Corvair. The Third Order within the Silver Flame, the Friars, provides missionaries for the church. Friars devoted to the Silver Flame spread the faith beyond Thrain's borders with zeal. While not a separate order, a small portion of the faithful believes in the Pure Flame. These fervent flamers, called Puritans, interpret every utterance of the voice of the flame literally. In the past, the Puritans helped initiate the Inquisition against lycanthropes and inspired crusades of all types. Today, they remain a vocal group within the church. See, they're advocating for good things. The Church of the Silver Flame seeks to purify the world. It wages war against supernatural evil. See, against evil, Seraphis. Members of the Church Templars roam the land fighting fiends, undead, and magical beasts. The church also seeks to fight corruption, greed, and other human evils, and through these acts of faith, kept the last war raging on. The average faithful is not expected to fight zombies and ghouls, but he is expected to live a noble life and encourage others to do the same. The church teaches that those who purify their spirits in this life join with the Silver Flame after death, strengthening the fires that bind the forces of evil within Kyber. Sadly, church clergy and members don't always live up to the noble standards embodied by the Silver Flame. They are only mortals, after all. The greatest enemy of the Silver Flame is the Lords of Dust. The Lords of Dust rarely move openly, but over the centuries there have been many clashes between the agents of the Flame and the fiends.
I'm sorry. Where was that lovely part before? Oh yeah, here it was.
This was all lovely.
The church also seeks to fight corruption, greed, and other human evils, and through these acts of faith, kept the last war raging on.
That had to have been a typo. Look, what better way to purge the unclean than a nice war?
Also, let's have a look. The average faithful is not expected to fight zombies and ghouls, but he is expected to live a noble life to encourage others to do the same.
Yeah.
So they get to live as nobles, but they don't fight zombies and ghouls to protect.
Oh, no. You don't live a... Now you're being a little too literal, Seraphis.
Oh, I'm being literal now. I thought was the Silver Flame's job.
You can live a noble life without being part of the nobility. You can aspire to be better than you are.
And yet, where was it? The church clergy and members don't always live up to the noble standards embodied by the Silver Flame.
They are still mortals and will fail. But they will do their best.
So they can fail, but
one might say they are encouraged to choose the right, even if they don't always do so.
And so how is it that you are adamant that attempting to make the lycanthrope extinct was the right choice?
Because clearly lycanthropy is a plague upon the mortals as anyways. So purging a disease from the world is a good thing.
Okay, well then, where's the part where they provide medical assistance to people?
That's what House Jurasco is for.
Really? Because I was under the understanding that the other temples provide healing services to their clergy.
Maybe healing isn't part of the domain of clerical knowledge for the Church of the Silver Flame. I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet.
But one of the powers of the Silver Flame is from a Quattle, which is a being that can heal.
I'm just going off of the information that I have, Seraphis. I regret nothing.
Yeah,
You
well,
heard it.
Kyber did nothing wrong. So
You heard it here, folks. The Church of the Silver Flame is the epitome of good in Corvair.
okay, and now on to a righteous organization, the Cult of the Dragon Below. Since the dawn of civilization, human or otherwise, there have been those who revered the dragon below, seeking to placate the forces of darkness through sacrifice and devotion. As some worship the light, these embrace the dark. Sorry, my PDF decided it wasn't going to respond.
That's okay. Be aware. I'm slightly distracted. I might miss scrolling this because I realized I didn't share the stream anywhere. So
I shared it a few places.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah. Their goals are many and varied. Some seek to release the Dalkir or to call up other dark forces from Kyber. Others hope to buy passage to a promised land beneath the surface of Corvair through blood sacrifice. Regardless of their beliefs, the Cult of the Dragon Below are often insane and always dangerous. Well, that's what the Silver Flame wants you to think, but, you know, Kyber is one of the three creation gods.
He is a progenitor god or a progenitor dragon.
Yeah. The cults of the Dragon Below are strongest in the Shadow Marches. The war against the Dalkir left deep scars on the psyche of the inhabitants of this region. Today, many of the prominent clans are devoted to the Shapers of Flesh and secretly work with powerful aberrations. As befits the servants of madness, the cults have no ties to one another and often work at cross purposes. All they have in common are their dreams of a world consumed by darkness and evil. Beyond the Shadow Marches, the cults follow many paths. Some listen to the mad whispers of the Dalkir. Others revere the bound Rakshasa Rajas, while a few directly worship the progenitor worm Kyber as the source of these lesser evils. Typically, the organization of these cults is far less formal than that of the established sects of the Shadow Marches. Usually, a lone evangelist gathers a group of followers with promises of power or pure charisma. Cults may appear among the underclasses or the aristocracy. Most cults operate in secret, and members lead perfectly acceptable lives in the light while feeding their vile devotions once darkness falls. Aberrations are often attached to cults, since the cults typically consider them to be beautiful and holy creatures. Some cults raise gibbering mouthers. Charming. Dolgrims or chokers may be sent to assist a cult, while a Dolgaunt, beholder, or mind flayer may take charge of a particular cult. Such powerful aberration may be acting on behalf of one of the Dalkir, or, in the case of an Illithid or beholder, it may have its own agenda. Cultists who serve the Dalkir faithfully may obtain symbiotes from the Flesh Shapers. These living weapons become treasured heirlooms of the cult and are passed down from priest to priest. Some Kyber cults seek power and may even have a vaguely rational plan for acquiring it, but most are driven by madness. Regardless of how sane or structured they may seem on the surface, the vast majority of cultists are fundamentally unstable. Virtually all cultists have no regard for life. Most consider themselves to be the chosen children of the dragon below, and the lives of the creatures around them are no more meaningful than those of insects.
It's Cthulhu cults.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like as I'm, the gibbering mouthers, all that kind of stuff. Oh, those are going to be sent to assist. I'm like that is straight up Call of Cthulhu.
Like, we're raising freaking baby gibbering mouthers.
I mean, they are kind of cute when they're babies. They get, bigger and they're kind of gross. Kind of like a toddler.
Can neither confirm nor deny that.
I'll straight up confirm it. I've had 3 kids. The dragon-marked houses have existed for thousands of years. For some reason not completely understood, the common races living on the continents of Corvair and Aranel developed dragon marks and the spell-like abilities associated with them. Some sages believe that the abundance of Eberron dragon shards on these continents had something to do with the development of dragon marks, but no one can prove this theory. What is known is that humans and elves never manifested dragon marks while living in the Eberron dragon shard deficient regions of Sarlona and Zendrick. Interesting. Individual dragon marks appeared within bloodlines, and soon family dynasties sprang up to take advantage of the dragon mark powers. Wait. Appeared within bloodlines? You mean like they're species locked? That it took a long time for you to even give me a glare on that one. I'm a little disappointed.
It's about whether I wanted to acknowledge that or not.
That's fair. Each family created an economic empire using the dragon marks, and the dragon marked houses developed into independent commerce states operating across multiple nations. The War of the Mark, which ended about 1,500 years ago, stabilized the houses and ended the threat of aberrant and mixed marks that might have destroyed the economy of Corvair. Today, 12 dragon marks shared amongst 13 houses form the basis for economic power across the continent. Agreements reached at the end of the last war of the agreements reached at the end of the War of the Mark formalized tenets and traditions that all the houses adhere to. These include rules concerning neutrality. All houses make a show of remaining neutral so that they can operate in all nations. Fair trade and practices, family naming conventions, and a ban on marriages between houses so that the dragon marks remain pure. Family members run each house, with either a matriarch or patriarch serving as the chief executive of both family and economic business. House family members form an economic aristocracy on par with the royal and noble families of the various nations. And family leaders are literally barons of industry and commerce. Each house also employs retainers and hirelings to aid in the family business. Those retainers and hirelings who show initiative and promise can rise through the ranks to hold important positions within the house. The most effective and promising of these might be invited into the family through marriage to the young scions of the blood, thus making sure the bloodline continues. Even though the house blood flows through the veins of every family member, not every one of them has a dragon mark. Only a small percentage of every generation manifests a mark. Among those who do, the least mark is the most common to appear, with fewer lesser marks and fewer still greater marks appearing in each generation. Those who do develop a dragon mark are singled out for great things and have responsibilities to the family that scions without marks never have to worry about.
Now, what they didn't bring up is when a dragon mark appears on someone who is not already a blood member of the house.
Well, but I mean, but that's easy. That's easy enough to say or to work with. Okay, so the dragon mark shows on this guy who is not connected to the house. Okay, well, his great grandmother, had an affair with the local merchant man and had a kid, and no one knew about it. And so like the bloodline did pass down.
I'm more a fan of when it happens aberrantly.
Well, aberrant mark is different, and I think
I'm using that term more broadly.
Oh, got it.
When someone who they cannot find a connection to the house, but is merely of the same species, one day just suddenly manifests the dragon mark out in public.
Look, no one knows the mysteries of the dragons.
Even the dragons, apparently.
Even the dragons, apparently.
If only we had one of the Coatls still around, considering it was one of them that showed the dragons the first prophecy mark. Apparently, the Coatl know what was going on.
Look, the Coatl knew that the Church of the Silver Flame was going to be more important in the long run.
Really? Where was that?
I mean, they joined to become the Silver Flame, so where else would it be?
Well, technically, the Spire Flame in Flame Peak was created from a human, a Coatl, and a Raj. So I don't think that one counts. That was one.
All right, let's burn through these houses.
All right, here's my favorite house. Well, second favorite. House Cannith consists of humans with the mark of making. Includes alchemists, artificers, and mage-rights of great skill, as well as the best mundane crafters on the continent. House Cannith arose in pre-Galifar Sire almost 2,500 years ago. Originally, the Cannith clan consisted of traveling tinkers, repairers, and crafters whose burgeoning dragon marks gave them the edge over the competition. As the house developed, it turned its attention to supernatural disciplines, studying alchemy and pioneering the techniques of artificers and mage-rights. As builders, fixers, and creators, the house maintains a lawful outlook. Some of its greatest accomplishments include the Lightning Rail, the Warforged, and the high-rising towers of Sharn. Well, like a couple of them. Sharn technically existed before them.
No, remember that Sharn. There's always been a city where Sharn is, but Sharn itself, like in its current construction, was built on top of the ruins of other cities.
Yes, but even in the Sharn book, you can see the parts that were original, and you can see the parts that are new.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say that enough of the newer towers that like as a general statement you can go with that sentence.
Yeah. The destruction of Karnath's ancestral estates in Sire and the death of the patriarch have thrown the house into chaos. 3 leaders have emerged, each intending to lead the house into the future. While the situation hasn't yet grown as bad as the split in the Mark of Shadow family that resulted in the creation of a new house, none of the emerging Karnath leaders is willing to accept the others as the new house patriarch. So far, they have reluctantly shared influence in the family by concentrating on their own regions and not attempting to pull the entire family together. Baron Jalana de Karnath operates out of Fairhaven and oversees the house's affairs in Onder, Thrain, and the Eldane Reaches. Baron Merix de Karnath leads the house's activities in Breland, Zalago, and Dagun from holdings in Shan, and Baron Zolan de Carnath controls house operations in Carnath. So, I'm getting my Carnath and Carnath. Operations in Carnath, the Morhold, and the Lazar principalities from the Enclave in... oh my god. Fucking names. In Korth.
So, real quick, I do want to point out, at best, one of these guys is neutral. Otherwise, lawful evil, neutral evil. So House Cannith, they're definitely good guys.
Do you know what annoys the crap out of me?
What?
That they put Merrick's, technically Merrick's to Cannith III, they put him as lawful evil. When if we ever get up to that particular book, he's actually a devout follower of the Traveler, which means he should actually be more closely aligned to chaotic neutral.
His alignment changes? I don't know.
The supposed thing is that basically he's the whole reason why he was able to reconnect with recreating item creation forges and things like that, or with the creation forges and creating new Warforged, was because his prayers to the Traveler were answered. Like, essentially, the Traveler whispered to him how his great-grandfather created the first Warforged, and he was like, oh, fuck, I get it now. I'm going to start doing shit. Which, again, Merrick's does, in fact, hold the most power out of the three. And it's ridiculous because, basically, yeah, he knows the secrets to creation forges. The others don't, which means he really does hold all the power in the family. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit off topic. House Cannith maintains 2 guilds. The Tinker's Guild serves to maintain society by repairing damaged structures and vehicles, maintaining infrastructures in the major cities, and performing similar crafts. Cannith Tinkers often travel on circuits between smaller villages, using magical and mundane skills to assist communities that they pass through. The Fabricators Guild performs the greatest works of craft, artifice, and magic. The guild is divided into dozens of specialties, including architects, elemental binders, alchemists, and armorers. The Fabricators Guild closely guards the secrets of its creation patterns. With one of these patterns, each made up of 3 or more sections called schemers, a member of the guild can replicate an item faster and with less effort than someone working without a pattern. Basically, you can use schemers with a standard magical forge for making weapons and armor and stuff. You can use them in collaboration with slots into those forges that you can basically press magic properties into while you're forging the item.
Okay.
Usually, this is done through the 3rd level infusion of armor enhancement and the 6th level infusion weapon augmentation, or greater weapon augmentation, greater armor enhancement, and the permanent spell.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is?
What?
Your GM has to give you downtime in order to actually, be able to craft stuff.
I know, and I'm pissed off. But I want to point out, he can't say no. Legitimately, it's right here saying that this is exactly how they do it.
Well, now if only you had access to a creation forge.
I don't need access to a creation forge. I can literally just use a standard fortune. Just make slots for schemers. Just bloop, bloop. I mean, come on. I've got like 26 ranks in blacksmithing, armor smithing, and weaponsmithing. I can knock any of these out in like 2 days.
If he gives you the downtime.
As soon as he gives me the downtime, I am going to be powering through this shit. Anyway. Yeah. Where am I? The services provided by House Kenneth are invaluable, and all the nations and dragon-marked houses have interest in maintaining friendly relations with the House of Making. House Kenneth's greatest enemy is itself. Both Jolana and Zolan seek to gain control of the entire house, while Merrick's is content to rule over the southern interests and continues his secret experiments deep beneath Shan.
All right. House Deneth. The proud humans of House Deneth carry the mark of Sentinel, born in pre-Galifar Karnath about 2,600 years ago. Today, the house offers the services of the Defenders Guild and the Blade Marks Guild, one devoted to protection and the other to supply mercenaries to the highest bidders. From his base of operations in Carlicton, Baron Brevin de Deneth controls the guilds and oversees the activities of the Sentinel Marshals, who, by ancient decree, provide law and order across national boundaries. Since the rise of Galifar, House Deneth has held to a military structure. Heirs of the house are expected to serve in the Defenders Guild, the Blade Marks, or the Sentinel Marshals, and leaders of the house are usually chosen from the generals of the Blade Marks. Because of its mercenary forces, Deneth holds the most significant military power among the dragon-marked houses. In the past, it has strictly abided by its vow of neutrality, selling its services to those on both sides of any conflict. With the 5 nations weakened by the last war, some within the house feel that it is time for Deneth to exercise its power to forge a new kingdom. Chief among these activists is Shirin de Deneth, lawful evil male human, Lord Commander of the Blade Marks. A recent convert to the blood of Vol, Shirin has been working with the Order of the Emerald Claw and may soon attempt to wrest control of the house away from Brevin. The Defenders Guild provides personal protection, including skilled bodyguards, wizards who can place warding spells on their charges. The Blade Marks Guild manages mercenary activities across Corvair. Members of House Deneth serve as officers, trainers, and strategists, but the rank and file soldiers of the Blade Marks are largely hired mercenaries. The Hobgoblins of Dargun and the Elves of Valinar both have strong representation in the forces of Deneth, but most of the house's soldiers are human. One noteworthy troop is the League of the Bitter Blade. This mercenary band is composed of soldiers who served in the Queen's Guard of Sire and are now left with no war to fight and no kingdom to return to. Dun dun dun. There we go.
Oh, we're on to me again.
Yes, we're on to you again. Way to pay attention. Getting distracted is my job, dude. Come on.
Hey, Game Master started it.
That's fair.
I'm going to quickly finish this because otherwise it's going to annoy me. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I can just speak it. Merrick's the First was the creator of the Warforged and other original Artificer and House Kenneth designs. So he is the original Artificer. So his death, dude, I bet is probably a Time Lord. That's what I'm saying. He was a Time Lord. He went back in time. There. Yeah. Anyway, House Galander. The mark of hospitality appeared among the halflings of the Talenta Plains nearly 3,200 years ago. By using its power related to food and shelter, the Galandra clan became a powerful force among the nomads. Nomads of the plains. Eventually, the family began to send representatives to the burgeoning human nations, and the Hostelers Guild was born. Today, the patriarch of the house holds court in the ancient city of Gatherhold. Here, Baron Joran de Galander keeps a firm grip on both aspects of his house's heritage, the traditional nomadic culture still practiced on the Talenta Plains, and the civilized halflings who have been living among the other common races for thousands of years. In the Talenta Plains, House Galander maintains the shared city of Gatherhold for the many nomadic halfling tribes that use it for trading and clan meetings. In the Plains, the house also provides a traveling fair called the Wandering Inn for halflings ranging far from the protective walls of Gatherhold. In the other nations, the integrated halflings who grew up among the common races operate the Hostellers Guild. My God, why am I having brain farts today? Members of the guild include innkeepers, chefs, and restaurateurs, as well as inspectors who enforce standards and regulate business for all member establishments. Those who run the house, as well as those independent inns, and restaurants, willing to earn the house seal and display it for all to see.
Okay.
That was rather short.
Let's see. The Mark of Healing first appeared among the halflings of the Talenta Plains about 3,000 years ago, but the Jarasco family eventually moved its headquarters to Karnath to better serve Greater Corvair. For this reason, most of the Jarasco halflings are cosmopolitan and cultured in the traditions of the Five Nations, with fused ties to the ancient nomadic ways of the plains. Today, the Healers Guild of House Jarasco tends to the well-being of most of Corvair. Using both mundane and magical healing techniques, as well as alchemy and herbalism, the Healers of House Jarasco deal in curing illnesses, tending wounds, and treating mental maladies in their hospitals and healing enclaves. See? They took it over from the churches, and so the Silver Flame doesn't need to do it.
Then why do the others? The Sovereign Host do.
Only for their members. Look, the Silver Flame is more worried about eliminating the threat of the lycanthropes. So they have other things to worry about.
Not eliminating the ancient Rakshasa Raja that's literally in their flame. Let's just feed that with our corruption instead.
No, the Rakshasa is bound in the flame. It's fine. They're not trying to heal it.
Unless their corruption and their evil deeds do feed it.
The matriarch of the house, Ulara Di Jarasco, is dedicated to overseeing her healing enclave and training hospital in Vedikar. She rarely travels far from the enclave, leaving the business of managing distant healing centers to younger family members. She has little patience for the traditional halflings of the Talenta Plains who treat her house with suspicion and distrust. Still, House Jarasco has healing centers even among the nomadic halflings, for the house's code require that all who need aid receive it, as long as they can pay for the service. Hey, look!
Yes! Oh, this is exactly the one I wanted to do. Cool. Now, let's have this bastard actually respond. There we go. Awesome. Hello! House Kundarak. Possessing great wealth and the magical mark of warding, the dwarves of House Kundarak have established themselves as the bankers and moneylenders of Corvair, as well as providers of persistent security for businesses and precious goods. Of course, who else would you trust other than dwarves? After all, if anyone knows how to make a vault, it's people who know how to diggy hole. While the mark of warding appeared among the dwarves 2,500 years ago, it wasn't until the rise of Galifar that the Kundarak dwarves emerged from barbarism and discovered the full extent of their magical gift. Kundarak Hold has rich deposits of precious metals, and the clan initially used its drag mark to protect its vaults. By 106 YK, House Kundarak was admitted into the exclusive membership of the drag-marked houses, and today House Kundarak's banking system operates throughout Corvair. House Kundarak is a business, and the heirs of the house are expected to earn their keep. The current patriarch, Baron Morrican de Kundarak, coordinates the operations of the Banking Guild and the Warding Guild from vast estates in Kundarak Hold. Major branches of the family operate in Onder, Thrain, Karnath, Breland, Zelago, and the Lazar Principalities. each, with its own director of operations. These nobles report to Kundarak Hold, but manage the daily affairs of the house in their region. By the way, there's also one in Salona and Zendrik.
Sure.
Yeah.
Stands to reason.
Yeah. Because, people keep traveling there to do adventures, so they need money.
I mean, why not set up a bank where people are?
Exactly.
Makes sense to me.
The Banking Guild provides loans, letters of credit, and safekeeping services in all the nations mentioned above. Only the Lazar Principalities have relatively minor banking facilities, and the Warding Guild has more extensive operations there due to its work with the prison island of Dreadhold. One of the most popular services for those who can afford it is the Safe Deposit Vault. A client can rent a vault for 10 gold per day. The client and any delegated companions receive a word of access and can deposit an item weighing up to 10 pounds into the vault. Through arcane means, the vault can be accessed from any Kundarak banking center, regardless of where the vault was originally accessed. Members of the house receive a discount on this service.
So it's a minor teleport / alternate dimension /
So it's a Lehman's secret chest spell?
Sure. No.
No?
No.
Grab a player's handbook after this and just look up that spell. You understand what I'm getting at. But basically, although
all the chests are connected, so wherever the chest is, it's connected to the chest somewhere else
via the password. So you can open up that vault anywhere where there's the connection of vault doors, and using your password, you can access your one at any location.
Right, exactly. But it so basically the word opens a pocket dimension.
Yes.
And so wherever you are, you speak the word, and it opens up that pocket dimension
at those vault facilities. Yes.
Well, yeah. But I'm right. I'm just saying, I put my thing in Zendrik, go home, and then go back to the vault in Sharn.
Yeah.
Say the word, and it opens up the vault in this pocket dimension, and then I got everything through customs, and they never knew.
Exactly. Greatest smuggling ring ever.
Up to 10 pounds.
Well, sure, unless you're a guild member and you know the how the vaults work.
I'm just saying. Anyway. All right, let's keep going.
Shan has these vaults and how to make them. You can make them bigger. Up to the size of a boat.
Up to the size of a boat.
I'm not kidding. And the compartment for it is the size of a backpack.
All right.
It's amazing. I love it so much. I want to get one. Or 1,000. Either way. Other services provided by the Banking Guild include exchanging coins for more transportable forms of wealth, such as gems or bills of exchange. The larger offices link by magical means, and an individual who maintains a balance with the bank can withdraw funds from any of the major outposts. The house speculates in a variety that's right. The house speculates in a variety of businesses, including its own precious metal trade, and wealthy clients can choose to take advantage of investment services. Kundarak, so basically, they also operate the stock exchange. I love these guys so much. I can't even. It's just amazing. Kundarak also provides credit and loans, but as an institution, the bank only deals with royalty, Dragonmark houses, guilds, and other larger groups. However, a Kundarak agent may provide a loan to an individual or adventuring party as a matter of personal speculation. The Warding Guild consists of experts in magical and mundane security, as well as troops trained to guard Kundarak holdings. House members stationed at Dreadhold belong to this guild. The guild provides independent security consulting and services. Kundarak locks and traps are renowned throughout the land because they are dimensional seals, which are nearly impossible to break through. Basically, they also create a kind of forbiddance over the entrance way, so you can't actually break in even through teleporting. It's ridiculously fun, and even if you dispel it, it still sends off a warning that you've unlocked the trap. So even
it's
if
Green
you do,
Guts.
huh?
It's Green Guts.
Yes, but before those movies came out.
Actually, no. I think it was after the movies came out. This was 2004. I think the first Harry Potter was like 2001, 2002.
Oh, was it?
I mean, I know the books were at least like 98, 99.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how old all that is.
Feels like only yesterday.
Right?
It also
That or
feels
we're
like
just
only
really
yesterday I was
old.
ignoring those things. Where are we? Many of the nations of Corvair and the dragon-marked houses rely on House Kundarak for loans and security, which gives the house considerable influence. House Kundarak has close ties to House Civis. Gnomes are found at most major branches of the bank. In exchange for a share of the profits, the House of Scribing provides bookkeeping services, verifies important documents, and assists with magical communication. In addition to providing the services of its mundane advocates and mediators.
Okay. All right. House Lorandar consists of half-elves with the Mark of Storm. The house appeared in pre-Galifar Thrain 2,000 years ago, but today it operates out of Onder to avoid the restrictive rule of Thrain's theocracy. The house matriarch, Esravash oh my gosh, Esravash de Lorandar oversees both the Raincallers Guild and the Windwrights Guild from the island paradise of Stormhome, which the house created off the coast of Onder. The Raincallers Guild helps farmers across Corvair, as well as any others who need to affect the weather in a localized area. The Windwrights Guild controls a vast shipping and transportation business that operates in the air and across the seas. With outposts in Breland, Onder, Zalargo, Thrain, Valinart, Karnath, House Lorandar's shipping and transportation services rival those of House Orion, and the two often compete over contracts that could be fulfilled over either land or sea. The half-elves, there's that word. Can't use that today. Koravar or whatever. Half-elves find few opportunities in the Lazar Principalities, however, and often come into conflict with ships of the Lazar princes in the open seas.
I believe we're up to House Madani.
Yep.
The half-elves of House Madani carry the mark of detection. House Madani originated in pre-Galifar Breland 1,500 years ago, using its abilities to detect threats, to foresee dangers, and establish a base of power related to knowledge in the wake of the War of the Mark. Today, Trilib de Madani oversees house activities and controls the Warning Guild from an enclave in Rort. He is a powerful and influential friend of Breland's king, Boronel, and has a tendency to favor that nation in his dealings. The Warning Guild offers services related to personal protection. Its members work as bodyguards, scouts, sentries, and inquisitives, ever vigilant for unexpected threats that could pose a danger to the clients they serve.
Okay. House Orion. The humans of House Orion bear the mark of passage. This house originated in pre-Galifar Onder almost 2,000 years ago. Its abilities related to transportation and teleportation quickly earned it a place among the economic powers. Today, Baron Quanti Diorain serves as the House Patriarch. He oversees house activities and controls the Couriers Guild and the Transportation Guild from an enclave in the city of Passage. Of course, like the rest of his family, Quanti is constantly on the move, and the house maintains outposts and emporiums throughout Corvair. The Couriers Guild takes advantage of the vast transportation network established by the house, as well as the dragon-marked abilities related to teleportation. Packages, messages, and passengers that need to get somewhere quickly and discreetly often wind up in the hands of an Orion courier. The Transportation Guild operates lightning rail and caravan routes throughout Corvair, providing constant lines of supply and communication between communities across the continent. This guild also maintains the trade roads that crisscross the land, making travel easier and safer. Whether travelers strike out on their own or hook up with an Orion caravan, these caravans sometimes use magically cooled wagons and other methods of preservation to keep food stocks fresh during transport.
The first dragon marks appeared among the elves of Arno more than 3,000 years ago. The Mark of Shadow and the Mark of Death appeared at about the same time, and the elves quickly understood the significance of the event. House Fierlon organized around the Mark of Shadow and began turning the abilities provided by the Mark into an economic dynasty. However, with the slaughter of the House of Death 2,600 years ago, House Fierlon left Aranel and relocated to Corvair, where the elves intermingled with humans and helped lay the foundations for the Five Nations. The Mark of Shadow grants divinatory and illusory powers to those who possess it. The Entertainers and Artisans Guild of House Fierlon provides gifted members of both professions with gainful employment. The house's true work, done in secret, involves information brokering and espionage. During the last war, the secret work of the house led to a schism within the family. Some parts of the family favored one side or faction in the conflict over parts favored by other sides. Eventually, the tension became too much, and part of the family split to form House Thorani. Today, Baron Elvinor Elorenthe de Feralen serves as the house matriarch from her palatial estate in Shan. The original family... Huh?
Palatial.
Palatial. I don't think I've ever seen that word.
Palace-like. Yeah.
The original family enclave in Sire was destroyed along with that nation, but as luck would have it, all the leading members of the house were abroad on that fateful day. What a coincidence.
I was surprised we all happened to be gone.
Most people believe that the elves who work for her are the best entertainers and artisans that money can buy. Few suspect the truth, that each is also an integral part of her network of spies operating throughout Corvair. Most of the house's business, at least for information, comes from Breland, Onder, and Thrain. House Fierlon maintains cordial ties with the elf lords of Arnel, but it has long since accepted that it is no longer part of the elf kingdom.
Look, if you ever wanted to be an elf bard, this is the house for you. So,
and if you ever wanted a Hydra as your family crest, it's also the house for you. Can't imagine what that means.
I am Alfarius. Wait, no, sorry, wrong game. Using natural talent and the mark of scribing, the gnomes of House Civis have established themselves as the masters of the written and spoken word. In addition to maintaining the lines of mystical communication that connect the nations of Corvair, House Civis provides translators, notaries, mediators, and advocates to cities across the continent. All gnomes are touched with magic, and the scholars of Korenberg have spent thousands of years studying mystical phenomena. When the mark of scribing first appeared within the Civis family 2,800 years ago, the gnomes were quick to realize and develop its abilities. Civis understood the power it possessed, but it also recognized the danger of being perceived as too powerful. Thus, those who bore a dragon mark immediately found ways to make themselves useful to society and to distance their house from the politics of the nation. The gnomes of House Civis were among the first of their kind to leave Zilargo and live in human lands. Today, their services are indispensable. Over the centuries, they have established and maintained a reputation for absolute impartiality, a vital trait for the force that handles the communications of kings. House Civis loves bureaucracy. A council of 9 administrators oversees operations in each of the nations. Each council sends one representative to the High Council of Corenberg, which manages the affairs of the house across Corvair. As in Zilargo itself, positions of leadership may appear to be obtained through merit, but a great deal of political infighting, intrigue, and manipulation goes on in the shadows. The current doyen of the High Council is Lyramon de Civis. Lyramon de Civis. She has led the house for almost 90 years and is known as an extremely shrewd negotiator and planner. To the casual observer, House Civis appears to have no goals beyond expanding its services across Corvair. Within the house, a constant shadow war for rank and position unfolds. The gnomes do not allow these struggles to interfere with their work or their relations with their fellows. 2 Civis gnomes plotting against one another may still go out drinking and have a fine time together. In a sense, the struggles are like an endless game of chess. The gnomes enjoy the game and accept any setback as a new challenge to overcome. House Civis has 2 primary operations, the Speakers Guild and the Notaries Guild. Speakers Guild offers the services of translators, interpreters, mediators, and advocates. In addition, the Speakers Guild maintains the network of message stations throughout which, for a price, a message can be sent from one station to any other station in Corvair. The Notaries Guild deals with written documents. Civis scribes use the arcane mark to authenticate legal documents, and they also perform transcription, translation, bookkeeping, and copying of texts. They specialize in the creation of secure documents using illusory script to prepare missives that can only be read by designated individuals. House Tharashk.
Yeah, no, I was just looking ahead to see how many more pages we've got of the Dragon Mark houses.
Not many, but there's like 8 pages left to go. So
I know.
I've already updated the thumbnail and acknowledged that we're going at least one more week just in reading.
One. We haven't even gone to magic items. You wouldn't deprive me of my magic items, would you?
That's fair. All right, we're going at least 2 more weeks.
House Tharashk. The humans and half-orcs of House Tharashk use the Mark of Finding to work as prospectors, inquisitives, and bounty hunters. The Mark of Finding first appeared in the Shadow Marches about 1,000 years ago. After being visited by House Civis representatives 500 years ago, the holders of the mark decided to follow the example of the gnomes and form an economic force of their own. The initial business of the house was derived from the immense Eberron dragon shard deposits in the region. Tharashk quickly became the prime suppliers of Eberron dragon shards in the rest of Corvair. Over the last 300 years, the house has expanded its operations across Corvair, working as trackers and prospectors beyond compare. The affairs of the house are managed from Zarashkak by a triumvirate representing the old clans. Members include Derek de Veldraren, Kundar Arashta, and Margrim de Tharashk. Sure. The triumvirate appoints regional leaders to run Tharashk operations in other nations, and these leaders, in turn, appoint lesser officers with the territories they control. Although orcs cannot manifest the Mark of Finding, House Tharashk includes orc members. The orcs devote their physical strength to mining and prospecting, or to assisting their marked cousins on bounty hunting assignments. House Tharashk maintains a number of different operations under the auspice of the Finders Guild. Members help miners locate rich deposits, as well as maintaining significant mining operations of their own. The guild has a virtual monopoly on the Eberron Dragon Shard trade, using skilled inquisitives and bounty hunters, both marked and unmarked. The house conducts such business. In addition, Thrashk has recently been acting as a clearinghouse for the services of mercenaries from Dharam, including monstrous soldiers, ogre laborers, harpy scouts, and others. And of course, we have our cockatrice for House Civis and our griffin for House Thrashk. You are muted.
Well, that also explains why you didn't respond to my comment about how the House Thrash kind of sounds like House Deneth, but with monsters.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
with more dragon shards.
And more dragon shards, exactly. All right. Once part of House Fjarlin, the elves of House Thorani formed their own house during the last war as the conflict began to turn various house factions against one another. Now Thorani competes directly with Fjarlin in areas of espionage, surveillance, and information brokering, as well as in entertainment and artisan endeavors. The two houses share the mark of shadow, though the newer version of the house in many ways remains the weaker of the two. For 25 years, since shortly after striking out on its own, House Thorani has run its shadow network from enclaves in Regal Port in the Lazar Principalities. The house operates throughout Corvair, but its patriarch has a fondness for Sharn, the City of Towers. Baron Alar di Thorani oversees the activities of the house, selling its services to clients in Karnath, Drome, Kabara, and the Lazar Principalities, among others. Rumors persist that the Baron deals with the Order of the Emerald Claw, but not even House Fjarlin has been able to confirm this. Neither elf house advertises its shadow services. Instead, the houses share a public face as entertainers and artisans of renown. House Thorani has a darker agenda and a more aggressive business tactics, however. When someone has a need for its services, or when the house has something important to sell, a representative appears in the shadows to whisper an offer with a knowing smile. Baron de Thorani has two constant companions, greater shadows named Rem and Rek, that protect and advise the Patriarch, neither straying far from his side. Whether he is in Regalport or Sharn, or one of the many House Thorani outposts located throughout the land, the Baron's shadows always accompany him on business and pleasure travel. So, yeah, like early in the book, all of the houses, and I realize we're almost done, seem like, oh, these are just like neutral organizations. And as we're reading this, it's just like, no, these people all kind of suck.
Yes.
It's a little annoying.
The leaders have mostly been shaped by the last war, and so most of them, the majority of them, are just bitter fucks for it now.
Right.
You probably do have some heirs of the houses who are probably good folk who would, like, for example, with Thorani and Fjarlin, there's probably some scions of both of them who would rather just reunite the houses and get rid of this feud. It's stupid, right?
Right.
But, you're dealing with freaking elves who are going to live for 1,000 years. This is not going to get settled anytime soon.
Yeah, right.
House Vidalis bears the mark of handling, which has the power to calm and control animals. The Vidalis Handlers Guild breeds and sells a tremendous variety of animals, and Vidalis handlers serve as teamsters, trainers, and stable keepers across Corvair. The humans who formed the Vidalis family migrated to the Eldian Reaches about 2,000 years ago, when the Mark of Handling emerged 200 years later, offering the settlers a defense against the many wild animals of the region. It was seen as a gift from the gods. House Vidalis has developed that gift into a lucrative and powerful economic position. Today, the power of House Vidalis radiates from the Eldeen Reaches, and the Handlers Guild has outposts throughout Corvair. House Vidalis is a family first and a business second. Patriarch Dalan Vidalis oversees house operations from an enclave in the heart of the city of Varna, and the house maintains a number of small towns throughout the eastern portion of the Eldeen Reaches. Vidalis produces remarkable mounts, livestock, and guardian beasts. Using natural animals, domesticated magical creatures, and magebred animals enhanced through generations of arcane experiments. From magebred direwolves to Pegasus mounts, Vidalis is the source for all manner of unusual creatures. In addition to breeding and selling animals, the Handlers Guild provides a host of other services. House Vidalis maintains stables in most major towns and cities, provides training and healthcare for animals of all descriptions. My God. And hires out drivers and teamsters for caravans and coaches. While they are relatively slow, the messenger bird and mounted post service of House Vidalis provide a connection to out-of-the-way communities that are too small to support the operations of House Civis or House Orion. House Vidalis has always had close ties with House Orion, and Orion caravans often use Vidalis drivers and animals. Since the Druids emerged from the Great Forest, Vidalis has done its best to maintain strong ties with the Wardens of the Wood. Not all the Eldeen Druid sects approve of House Vidalis. In particular, the Ashbound despise Vidalis and often raid the holdings of the house. In addition, House Vidalis made bitter enemies among the Elves of Valinar when it sought to steal a herd of Valinar horses 20 years ago.
Okay. This particular house I always thought was kind of strange because it's like they breed animals, but they're a major part. Like in world, I can see them as being important. In game, I can't necessarily see them as being very important.
Well, you wouldn't typically see adventurers who would probably have the mark of handling.
Right.
But as part of the world building, I can this is an important one to point out that exists because it adds to everything else about the world.
Right, and that's kind of my point is that they, in world, it like totally makes sense, but to actually make it, important in game is where I'm struggling. Anyways, that's just a minor nitpick. All right, cool. We've done all of the houses. All right. The Dreaming Dark, a secret order of psionic spies and assassins, serves as the eyes and hands of the Quarry in Dalcor, the region of dreams. While it generally seems to be allied with the inspired lords of Redra, the goals of the Dreaming Dark are subtle and mysterious, and always deadly. This lawful evil organization makes its headquarters in the city of Darjin in Regia. Its secret symbol is an eye partially concealed under a wing. When used as a badge of office, the style of the eye indicates the position of the bearer in the organization's hierarchy. For 1,000 years, Regia has been an insular land of mystery. The inspired wear secrecy like a shroud, and foreigners are not allowed into the lands of the Empire. For much of the history of Regia, there was no contact between the inspired and the other inhabitants of Eberron. But in recent decades, this wall has been lowered. Foreigners are not allowed on Regran soil, but inspired ambassadors can be found in most of the courts of Corvair. Even so, the inspired have long maintained a network of spies stretching across Eberron. For centuries, the Dreaming Dark has simply watched the world from the shadows, while the inspired built their power within Redra. Now the Quarry are ready to act, and the Dreaming Dark serves as their hands. Should he ever be confronted with the actions of the Dreaming Dark, a Redran ambassador would deny that his nation had anything to do with the organization. This assertion is true. The Dreaming Dark is a separate organization whose leaders dwell in Dalcor itself. The Dreaming Dark provides information to the Redran court, but the rulers of Redra have no authority over the agents of the Dark. In fact, an agent usually holds a higher place in the hierarchy of Dalcor than a Redran governor. The agents of the Dreaming Dark are inspired human vessels that now hold Kori spirits. Some agents use disguises to blend in with the local population. Others pose as Kalashtar. With a variety of insidious psionic disciplines at their disposal, they can observe and gather information, and over the centuries, they have built fifth columns within some nations. As a result, the Dreaming Dark has influence over criminal organizations, trade guilds, and academic institutions. It has agents in dragon-marked houses and royal courts across the world. The Circle of Night, made up of the most powerful scions among the inspired, coordinates agent activities. The leader of the circle, known as the Devourer of Dreams, or the Dreamer, serves a still greater power. The spirits of the Kori located in the heart of Dalcor. The Devourer of Dreams can commune with the spirits on Dalcor without being absorbed and destroyed. Physically, the agents of the Dreaming Dark are scattered across Eberron. However, when one of the inspired sleeps, its spirit returns to its body in Dalcor. The Dreaming Dark is a secret order that does not bargain with other organizations. Its greatest enemies are the Kalashtar of Adar and the priests of the Path of Light. So, evil scion.
Pretty much. Oh.
We're almost done. We can do this.
Dude, there's like 6 more pages.
We can do this. We're ignoring all of the sample characters. and we've got, game masters here to keep us motivated.
I'm doing my best, but I'm failing.
He's completely right, though. The gatekeepers do seek the keymasters.
Didn't I make a bunch of Ghostbusters jokes before and you didn't get them?
Probably. I'm kind of oblivious at times.
I mean, for crying out loud, the Traveler. Anyway, the Gatekeepers. Members of the Gatekeepers, a druidic sect dedicated to protecting nature from the unnatural, spend their lives fighting aberrations and guarding against extraplanar invasion and the release of ancient evils. The Gatekeepers maintain the oldest druidic tradition on Corvair. Over 15,000 years ago, the green dragon Varak came to the Shadow Marchers and gathered followers around her. She had foreseen a cataclysm that only the younger races would be able to avert, and so she taught the orcs how to work with earth and wood and how to read the future in the movements of the Ring of Sybaris. She charged her students to watch for the signs of the great disaster and always seek to preserve the balance of nature against those forces that would corrupt it. Now, just quickly, I want to point out, in Eberron, chromatic and metallic dragons are not distinguished by being good and evil. All dragons are good or neutral.
I was going to say, yeah, I just assume. Well, no, I mean, you could have an evil dragon. I'm just saying, but
but like they're not innately
right. Yeah, they're
normally are.
Yeah, just treat them as people.
Yeah. Forces that would corrupt it. It was over 7,000 years before the Gatekeepers faced the first real threat to Corvair, the coming of the Dalkir. Leading armies of illithids, beholders, and other aberrations, these fiends sought to remake Corvair. The war that followed shattered the Hobgoblin Empire and left terrible scars across the continent. But Karax
Students.
Who's Karak? It was Varrock before.
That's funny. Yeah, because it's Varrock and
Karak.
yeah, yeah, it's terrible. Varrock. That has to be just an editing goof. That's funny.
If it wasn't for the fact of reading this out right now, I probably wouldn't even notice it. But because I had to say the first word and almost tongue twisted over it, it then registered when the second one came up. Wait a minute, that's not the same one.
Game Master
Anyway.
says it's Varrock's twin. Nerd says typing Corvair and Varrock too many times on the same page equals Karak. Regardless, that's a big goof. Or we missed some character that is important and we didn't notice it. Anyways, let's move on.
Their students ultimately prevailed. The gates to Zoriat were sealed, and the Dalkir who remained were driven into the depths of Kyber. The question remained: was this the cataclysm Varrock had? Okay, it has to be Varrock.
Again,
Varrock students.
Gotta be it's gotta be just an editing miss. But still.
Had predicted, or a prelude to something worse. The gatekeepers had been crippled by the war against the Dalkir. The survivors retreated to the depths of the Shadow Marches and the Eldeen Reaches. Gatekeeper barbarians and rangers hunted down the surviving aberrations, while the druids watched the skies for signs of new dangers. Eventually, humans came to Corvair. The gatekeepers shared their secrets with the newcomers, and some humans joined their ancient cause. Today, the
Google says Karak is an incorrect spelling of Varrock, a black dragon in the Eberron campaign setting. Varrock taught the orcs druidic magic in Corvair over 16,000 years ago.
Black dragon. This said green dragon.
Look, it's a role-playing game. Do whatever you want at your own table.
Because I was going to say, it's very thematic that it was a green dragon that taught the druids, considering that in normal D&D, like in like Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms, green dragons usually spew poison and things like that decay, like, the green around them. Whereas, it's ironic that a green dragon is the one teaching these druids to preserve nature and to protect against aberrations.
I got nothing.
Anyway, either the green dragon Varrock or the black dragon Karak.
Nerd says the errata changed it to a black dragon.
Sure.
Again, do what you want at your table, folks. It's okay.
You know what? Screw it. Varrock is a green dragon and Karak is a black dragon.
There we go.
And they're both involved in this.
They're twins, by the way.
Yeah, they're twins. whole thing is stupid. Fucking dumb. Anyway. God. I'm gonna have to look after this to the end of my PDF to see whether
Okay,
it's got the errata at the end of it.
but let's do that later.
Oh, that's what I said. I'll do it later, but oh my god. Anyway,
hold on. All other references call her black, but what we know for sure is that a dragon of some color with some name taught druidic magic to orcs.
you're not wrong, nerd. You're not. Like, you are so on the ball with that.
That's
A
great.
colored dragon taught orcs druid magic.
Not a metal one.
100% correct.
We know it was colored and not metal.
Oh, it could have been metal. They could have mistaken its color.
No, metal isn't a color. Anyways. Are we even going to finish this chapter?
I don't see how at this point.
Come on, we got 6 pages. We can do this.
I'm trying. Okay. Hopefully we finish this before Grim has to go to work. Where the crap am I?
I don't know. Here, just start at the gatekeepers had been crippled. I don't remember.
Sure, that works. The gatekeepers had been crippled by the war against the Dalkir. The survivors retreated to the depths of the Shadow Marches and the Eldian Reaches. Gatekeeper barbarians and rangers hunted down the surviving aberrations, while the druids watched the skies for signs of new dangers. Eventually, humans came to Corvair. The gatekeepers shared their secrets with the newcomers, and some humans joined the ancient cause. Today, the Shadow Marches are a stronghold for the gatekeepers in the Eldian Reaches, and Wardens of the Wood and the other sects inspired by the great druid Oalian outnumber the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers have a loose structure. Aspirants grow into initiates, and initiates become gatekeepers. Otherwise, rank and respect come with seniority and deeds. High-level druids guide the gatekeepers, but they make up only a small part of the sect. For every gatekeeper, there are a handful of aspirants, mid-level druids, and initiates, low-level druids. For every initiate, there are 3 or 4 hunters. In the Shadow Marches, the sex barbarian hunters allow the fury of nature to guide their actions. In the Eldian Reaches, ranger hunters carefully track the horrors that have been left behind by the Dalkir. The gatekeepers seek to defend nature against aberrations, outsiders, undead, and other horrors that have no place in the natural order of Eberron. They remain ever vigilant, preparing for war against darkness that may rise again. The gatekeepers of the Eldian Reaches have a friendly relationship with the Wardens of the Woods, the largest druidic sect in the region. In general, the gatekeepers have little interest in the politics and affairs of the 5 nations.
Okay, real quick, did you happen to see my comment earlier in chat?
Which one?
Seraphis likes druidic sects. That is a callback. Oh my gosh. Do you realize that we've been doing this for like almost 5 months now? Anyhow, let's see here. The Library of Korenberg.
Why do you keep giving me the druid ones that want to repeatedly, with my accent?
Okay, hold on. I don't assign anything to you. We just said who's going to start
why
today.
Does it keep coming up?
I don't
With my
know.
accent. You say that word. You say that word.
I just did. Druidic sects. I also know what's coming, so I kind of emphasize the T a little bit more. Look, that was just a fun callback, all right? But yes, somehow you always end up on the Druids. Okay, minor sidetrack here. That has been one of the funnest parts of this whole thing. Like, because again, we don't plan it. Oh, who's going to take what? It's like, oh, I would like this one. Okay, sure. We'll go out of order. But for the most part, it's like, oh, who wants to start this week? I'll start this week. And we don't math out, oh, who's going to hit what particular topics. That just happens because the section comes up. And it's always managed to line up where, like, I'm getting the Church of the Silver Flame, you're getting the Druids, or the dwarves.
No, it's not just the Druids. It's whenever the Druids are brought up, and they want to use the word sect a lot.
Yes, exactly. Right. And
in plural. In plural.
But it's completely random. We don't plan it. And it just happens that way. It's great. I love it. Anyways.
This is the karma for asking you Mormon questions.
That's probably true. So, anyways. All right. The Library of Corenburg, located in Zalargo's southeasternmost port city, the Library of Corenburg is the greatest repository of general knowledge in Corvair. In addition to serving as a resource for scholars and explorers, the library often funds expeditions to study ancient cultures and unexplored lands. The gnomes of Zalargo have an unparalleled thirst for knowledge. This inquisitive spirit gave birth to the Library of Corenburg. A lore master of the powerful Corin family became obsessed with the theory that the deities of the sovereign host were in fact ascended dragons. This gnome, Dorius Alir Irkorin, swore that he would amass enough knowledge and information to surpass even the sovereign Lord Arion, so that he could ascend and take the god's place. The Corin family invested considerable wealth in Dorius's obsession. Even those who didn't believe his theories of divinity were intrigued by the idea of a vast vault for knowledge. In time, Dorius died, but his library remained. As the centuries passed, it continued to grow and expand. With the rise of the Kingdom of Galifar, gentry and aristocrats from across Corvair came to study the colleges connected to it. Today, the Library of Corenburg plays a significant role in the economy of Corvair. It funds many expeditions to further the search for knowledge and can be a valuable patron for adventurers. The citizens of Corenburg take great pride in their library. Citizens of the city may attend the colleges without charge, and every citizen must devote 4 years of service to the library. This service is considered an act of patriotism and an educational experience. Many choose to extend this period of service, accepting posts as lecturers, researchers, administrators, and other important roles. Each of the library's 8 colleges seeks to advance a particular field of study. Together, the colleges maintain the archives, vast vaults containing knowledge accumulated over 3 millennia. The doyens of each college serve on a central council that manages the affairs of the library. This council is run by an appointed member of the Corin family, descended from the founders of the library. Like all politics in Zalargo, positions in the library involve intrigue, blackmail, and scheming. The current High Counselor, Alina Alren Irkorin, lawful evil female gnome, is a cunning woman who has had to fight off many competitors within her own house to maintain her status and position. The library is based in Corenburg, but it keeps safe houses in the capital cities of every nation of Corvair. These offices provide shelter for library research teams. While the library does not focus on magic as much as the 12 or the Arcane Congress, it has had centuries to fill its vaults. The restricted archives and secret vaults are heavily defended and shielded against scrying and other forms of spying. The library appears larger on the inside than from the outside. It's Doctor Who.
Did you not pick that up from Corenburg?
No.
Corin? Oh, okay. Too long to go into. Suffice to say, there's a bit of a Doctor Who joke in that.
Got it. All right. When a researcher reserves time at the library, a clerk provides a catalog stone, an orange-colored crystal keyed to the topics the researcher wishes to study. A private study cell is provided, which initially looks like a small pool of light in a vast open darkness located somewhere in the library's extra-dimensional space. Within the pool of light, a desk, chair, work table, and narrow pedestal are placed for the researcher's use, along with quills, ink, parchment, and sealing wax. When the catalog stone is placed atop the pedestal, alcoves formed of shelves full of books and scrolls rush out of the darkness to create the walls of the study cell. When the researcher completes his work, removing the stone from the pedestal causes the shelves to fall away so that the researcher can exit the study cell.
It's the Matrix.
Oh, that's true.
It's the scene from the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I as soon as you said that, I'm like, I see exactly what you're talking about.
Or it's, when the Doctor Who goes into his closet to pick out a new outfit.
Also true.
Also true. Yeah. No, there's that one's. I love the little Easter eggs and references in that. It reminds me of second edition D&D. That just makes me happy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's knock this out. We're almost done.
Yep. Well, I mean, 5 more pages. The Lords of Dust, a chaotic evil cabal of Rakshasas and other fiends, have been playing games with the common races for thousands of years. They hide in the shadows of Corvair, plotting to free their ancient masters from the depths of Khyber, scheming to use them to gain greater power, or spreading pain and suffering among the common races. The group has bases of operations in the Demon Wastes and on Dare, among other places. Really? On Dare?
I mean, why not?
Not Karnath?
I'm missing something, and the ADHD is just kicking in like hardcore, so you're going to have to be a lot more direct.
The file uses a stylized silhouette of a broken tower to identify its members. The Lords of Dust have little interest in complex hierarchies. The most powerful fiends occasionally gather in the ancient capital of the Rakshasas to discuss their current schemes and goals, but they have no leader. The membership is earned and kept through cunning and personal power.
They're after you, Seraphis. They're taking you to Howard Springs.
It's not even in the right state.
That's how bad you did. We know.
No, I can stay in one place for 2 weeks. They're never going to come for me to take me to Howard Springs. Unlike these filthy, goddamn, dumbass East Coasters. If you really want to talk about that.
No, I don't. My joke
also,
was funny,
I think it's hilarious that they don't ever designate a leader, because technically designating a leader would mean that one of them would have to become a Raj. And then that would mean that everyone would come after that Raj.
I was saying, declaring yourself the leader means you put a target on your back.
Yeah, pretty much.
These guys aren't known for playing nice.
Yeah, but it also would be a beacon to every other holy Avenger, the gatekeepers, all of that the
Silver Flame
Raj has just risen on the material plane, and that would all be kill him. I'm pretty sure even a Cloak of Khyber isn't going to disguise that thing.
That's fair.
The organization also includes a host of weaker fiends, lesser Rakshasas, and other demons content to serve the scheming lords. The Lords of Dust are immortal, and their motivations are difficult for creatures of flesh and blood to understand. Sometimes their actions serve a clear purpose. Other times they seek to cause chaos for its own sake, toying with the common races like pawns on a chessboard. These games can continue for centuries. It is entirely possible that the destruction of Zendrick and the collapse of Galifar were ultimately engineered by members of the Lords of Dust. Fiends subtly unraveling the threads of civilization to watch the suffering and pain as societies collapse. It wasn't, just for the record. The most cunning and clever fiends always search for ways to increase their own power. Some seek to release the Rajas they once served, others explore ways to drain power from their former masters to exploit as their own. The Lords of Dust are masters of deception and are rarely and they rarely deal openly with mortals. Rakshasas can read the thoughts of others and shift their shape to mimic any humanoid form. And they have infiltrated many governments, guilds, and other organizations. Even other schemers, such as the Aurum or the Cults of the Dragon Below, have been compromised by the Lords of Dust. But the plans of the fiends can take decades or centuries to unfold, and a Rakshasa's infiltrator may spend an entire human lifetime waiting for the right moment to make its move. So, almost any organization can be tricked into serving the Lords of Dust. At least temporarily. The one force that knowingly serves the Rakshasas is the barbarian tribes of the Demon Wastes. The powerful forces opposed the Lords of... Sorry. Two powerful forces oppose the Lords of Dust. The Dragons of Arganessen and their agents in the Chamber, and the Church of the Silver Flame. The dragons helped to defeat the Rajas in the Age of Demons, and among many of the Lords of Dust still yearn for vengeance. However, Lords of Dust managed to identify one of the goals of the Chamber. Whenever the Lords of Dust manage to identify one of the goals of the Chamber, they will seek to oppose it. In turn, the dragons do their best to expose or destroy Rakshasa infiltrators to prevent the release of their imprisoned masters. The Knights Templar of the Silver Flame serve the same power that holds the Rajas beneath the earth, and they are relentless in their pursuit of this ancient evil. Mortal flesh can be weak, however, and members of the Church of the Silver Flame can be fooled, bribed, or corrupted by the powerful fiends. Like wiping out an entire race of shifters?
Like mortals? Like
the Lords of
imperfect
Dust
mortals?
Are the purest manifestation of evil to be found in Eberron. There is no place within the Cabal for mortals except as tools, playthings, and servants. Most often, adventurers fight against the Lords of Dust, either directly or by exposing their schemes. It is possible for heroes to be tricked into serving the Lords of Dust. A Rakshasa in the form of a trusted ally could send them on a quest that causes more harm than good.
Unlike the Silver Flame, who would never do that. Morgrave University is not the most reputable institution in Corvair. It lacks the resources of the Library of Korenborg or Wintern University, and many claim that its archaeological activities are infested with smugglers and treasure hunters. While the university lacks the clout of its peers in Korenborg and Onder, it is much more accessible to young adventurers who have yet to build a reputation. In the past, most nobles were educated in the colleges of Zalargo or Onder. When Lord Lareth Morgrave established his university in the city of Sharn 260 years ago, he claimed it would be a beacon of knowledge shining from the tallest towers of the city, illuminating the forgotten secrets of the past. While many city elders applauded Morgrave's work, he had his enemies. Morgrave was said to have made his fortune selling Dakani artifacts on the black market, and some claimed that the true purpose of the university was to assist him in his treasure hunting. Suspicions aside, Sharn's proximity to Zendrick has made Morgrave University a nexus for scholars wishing to study the secret continent. The Master of Morgrave University is the oldest heir of the Morgrave line. Currently, the university head is Larian Morgrave, neutral male human, a scholar who has spent decades studying the civilizations of ancient Zendrick. Morgrave University struggles to establish its academic reputation, and the sages and scholars on the faculty always watch for an opportunity to prove themselves. That said, Morgrave's reputation for corruption is well deserved. Many priceless relics recovered from Zendrick or Dakani ruins have been stolen from university vaults, only to find their way to the black market or into the hands of Aurum. The Aurum. Master Larian has vowed to put an end to these acts of smuggling and profiteering, but so far he has done little to back up his promises. Some people at the university do have ties to smugglers and thieves, but many of the Morgrave scholars truly believe in their work. A few of them have connections with the Library of Korenborg, the Wayfinder Foundation, and the 12. Obviously, these ties are not strong enough to get one of them a post at a more prestigious institution, but an adventurer might be able to get a letter of introduction from one of the more grave sages.
Oh yeah, it's very easy. It just requires the right amount of gold pieces.
Yeah, or maybe an interesting artifact that you recovered from Zendrick and sent back home through the little vault thing that we talked about.
Yeah. All right. The reputation of the Knightly Order of the Emerald Claw has gone from one extreme to the other. When it was established, the order was considered the ultimate expression of Karnathi patriotism. Today, it has been outlawed and is seen as a terrorist organization working at cross purposes to the legitimate government of the nation. The secret truth behind the origin of the order and the evil it serves is terrifying. On the surface, the Order of the Emerald Claw appears to consist of a small number of fanatics dedicated to the military superiority of a Karnath that doesn't want their devotion. In reality, the Order has no interest in promoting or elevating Karnath. Its true master, hidden to all but the top leaders within the organization, is Vol, the self-styled Queen of the Dead. This seemingly small group is likely an iceberg. The tip that rises above the surface is nothing compared to the mountain of ice hidden beneath the waves. The Order supports a vast network whose tendrils wind through all levels of Corvarian society. It has eyes and ears in the halls of government, churches, dragon-marked houses, and private institutions. Some of its agents never reveal their true nature. Others appear proudly in the knightly garb of the Order. Vol uses the Order of the Emerald Claw to incite fear and terror, to cast suspicion on the actions of Karnath and its leaders, to foment unrest, and to perform military missions that go beyond the capabilities of her followers within the blood of Vol. Knights of the Order scour the world for relics and artifacts of powerful magic, and aren't above stealing arcane research from wizards and artificers to churn out new magic weapons for the Order of the Vol. For the Order or for Vol. The garb worn by the Knights of the Order includes a distinctive helmet with a half faceplate, a tabard, a half faceplate, a tabard with a claw insignia over the chainmail, and a powerful flail.
Okay. All right. The royal families. King Galifar I established a royal line that continues to rule parts of Corvair to the present day. When Galifar united the 5 nations under his banner, he gave each of his 5 eldest children regency over one of the nations. His descendants continued this practice as age and number of offspring allowed, so that for most of the reigns of the Galifar kings and queens, their children learned leadership by governing parts of the kingdom, and were therefore more or less ready to step onto the throne when the king abdicated or died. Succession went to the oldest scion of each generation, at least until the death of King Jarrett and the succession struggle that led to the last war. Today, the descendants of Galifar Winnan continue to play instrumental roles in Corvair. 3 of the remaining 5 nations are still ruled by the Winnern family, and the 4th nation's royal family, while not on the throne, has some role in the governing of the nation. Queen Arala Irwinnern rules Onder, and her extended family and loyal nobles administer to the needs of the people. From the capital city of Fairhaven, Arala commands all she surveys and plots to use the calm of the current peace to launch a storm that sees her claim the Galifar crown for her own. King Boronel Irwinnern leads the royal family of Breland from an ancient estate at the capital city of Rote. Older than the other rulers of the 5 nations, and with heirs that have as yet not inspired love and devotion, Boronel worries about the fate of Breland when his head finally becomes too weak to carry the crown. King Caius III, in actuality the vampire Caius I, rules the nation of Karnath. Few among his court or subjects know the truth about Caius's identity or nature. He maintains the military dictatorship that has served the nation well, while working to stabilize the peace and turn his nation into a more progressive society. Diani Irwinnern leads the royal family of Thrain, which serves merely as a figurehead in the theocracy. She works in secret to make deals with foreign powers in an effort to reclaim the government of the nation. But the Church of the Silver Flame has a solid hold on the reins of power and will prove difficult to overthrow. I mean, why not have a good, strong, leader as opposed to just a mere figurehead, right? Other members of the Winnern family can be found throughout Corvair. Perhaps the next most powerful of these is Orgev Irwinnern, the last remaining scion of Sire's ruling family. A leader in exile, Orgev makes his base in the town of New Sire, graciously provided by Breland for the refugees of the destroyed nation. All right, we're almost there.
Now, it's like I wanted to point out somewhere, but... Oh, that's right. Ondare, the Queen of Ondare. Remember how, she still pines to want to take the crown for herself?
Right.
And what was the other nation that the Lords of Dust have a hold in? Ondare.
Okay. So
she's being heavily manipulated by.
I was going to say, maybe she's not actually in control.
Pretty much. An arcane institution founded by the dragon-marked houses, the 12 operates out of a 13-tiered keep that floats above the city of Korth in Karn. Really? Huh.
I mean, keep going. It's interesting.
13-tiered keep that floats above the city of Korth in Karnath. As part of the agreements that ended the War of the Mark, Hadrian de Karnath suggested that the houses work together to create an institute for the application of magic, a foundation that would study dragon marks and the more traditional forms of arcane magic. The keep was built by Aldare de Karnath, a visionary wizard and master fabricator, who used his studies of the sky to determine that the keep should possess 13 towers. The moons suggest that the perfect number of dragon marks is 13. Aldare cryptically explained, but we shall call the institution the 12, for the 13th mark was cast off long ago. No one argued with him. While the elves remembered the Mark of Death, it is a topic they wish to forget, aside from the elf leaders who know the truth behind the lost dragon mark. Over the centuries, the Institute has been responsible for many arcane advances. The artificers of the 12 helped develop the airships operated by House Leander, for example, as well as the message stations of House Sivis. As an arm of the dragon-marked houses, the 12 attempted to remain neutral during the last war. However, many of the wizards and artificers of the 12 had national loyalties and were stronger than their ties to the Institute, and they chose to leave to fight in the war. Quite a few fell in battle. Now that the 12 has resumed normal operations, it seeks to replace its fallen members and make sure that each house is represented. The Committee of the 12 oversees the Institute. The committee actually has more than 12 members. There are 12 dragon marks, but the split of House Thierlan and House Tharani and the current troubles with House Karnath have caused the membership to fluctuate. The 12 has access to a tremendous array of mystical supplies and funding, and the greatest wizards and magerites of the land fight for workshop privileges at the Institute. Advances made at the Institute are shared equally among the houses, although there are always rumors of one or more of the houses diverting funds for secret projects or attempting to conceal valuable discoveries. As an institution, the 12 works to advance the mystical arts. In particular, the Committee of 12 looks for magical developments that have practical value to society and a potential for profit. The 12 has a great deal to offer arcane adventurers. It has access to considerable stores of rare mystical components and a vast library of spells. Even the mundane can find the 12 to be an invaluable asset because the sages of the Institute can quickly identify unusual magic items or artifacts. However, being a prestigious organization, the 12 will not deal with adventurers until they have developed a positive reputation. King Galifar I, not completely convinced of the Dragonmarked House's neutrality and altruistic outlook, established the Arcane Congress as a direct competition for the 12. Today, the two institutes of magical studies engage in a more or less friendly rivalry for resources, students, and arcane discoveries.
All right. All right. Wardens of the Wood. The great forest of the Eldeen Reaches is filled with a dozen druid sects. Each sect consists of druids, rangers, and others who feel a bond to nature, and each has its own beliefs and motivations. The largest and most influential of these sects is the Wardens of the Wood. Are we sure you shouldn't be reading this section? The Wardens are primarily human, but include elves, half-elves, gnomes, and few members of other races. They guard the plains and forests, protecting nature and the people living there from all threats, natural and unnatural alike. The great druid...
No, because I only said sect once.
That's fair. The great druid Oalian is recognized as the ultimate authority in the region by all the sects, except for the gatekeepers. The Wardens of the Wood directly serve Oalian and act as his eyes and ears throughout the region. The Wardens of the Wood, like the gatekeepers, maintain static communities where children are raised and taught. The Wardens of the Wood dominate the region. Over the last 3 decades, they have spread out across the plains, as well as continuing to occupy the great civilization, or occupy the great forest. The Wardens seek to maintain the balance between civilization and nature. Human, orc, bird, and beast all have a place in the world. They just need to be provided with the proper aid and guidance. The Wardens protect travelers from bandits, rabid beasts, and aberrations that lurk in the shadows. They have no problem with agriculture and animal husbandry as long as both land and beast are treated with respect and compassion. They work with farmers and rangers to ensure that the needs of nature are met. The Druid sect have little influence outside the Eldeen Reaches. Within the Great Forest, there are friendly ties between the Wardens of the Wood and the Gatekeepers. The other sects represent the Great Druid, but generally come together only for important conclaves and rituals. Oalian has forbidden open conflict between the Druid sects. However, individual Druids and Rangers often follow their own hearts. Wardens of the Wood often interfere with Ashbound raids, and the Children of Winter occasionally clash with members of other sects. However, all personal vendettas are set aside while the Druids are in Greenheart or in the presence of the Great Druid. All right, last one.
And this is why I should be doing this one.
All right.
In his youth, Lord Boromir Eardane was a great hunter and explorer. He led the only expedition ever to reach the Frostfell and return to tell the tale. He wrestled ogres in Droam, fought Chulls in the Shadow Marches, and was the first halfling to travel to Zendrick and return. Dane amassed... Yeah, he returned. What was the rest of his crew like?
Not...
Well, we'll cross that dissection of bodies done by scorpions when we get to it. Dane amassed a fortune in his day, but during his final expedition to Zendrick, he contracted a slow wasting curse that no magic has been able to reverse. Gee, how does that happen, I wonder? He has a few years of life left, and while he no longer has the strength to explore on his own, he still wants to unlock the mysteries of the unknown. To this end, he dedicated his fortune to establishing the Wayfinder Foundation, a guild for adventurers and explorers that funds dangerous expeditions to exotic locales, as well as giving bold adventurers a place to display their trophies and tell all tales. The Wayfinder Foundation is an exclusive organization. Membership is by invitation only and offers extended only to renowned adventurers and explorers. The Wayfinder Conclave manages the affairs of the Foundation. The Conclave meets in Orndare, and all decisions are resolved by a majority vote. As long as he still lives, Lord Boromir Eardane has the final say on all expenditures of Foundation funds, even overriding decisions of the Conclave. Despite his skills, Dane has been crippled by the wasting curse and rarely leaves the Foundation's enclaves in Fairhaven. Boromir Eardane is a true philanthropist. He wishes to have his name attached to the great adventures of the future, since he himself can no longer participate in the adventures of the present. His one ulterior motive is the hope that an explorer may discover a cure for the strange wasting curse that is slowly sapping his life. Of course, many of the members of the Foundation are more interested in personal wealth or glory than in increasing the reputation of the Wayfinders or pursuing scholarly exploration. The Wayfinder Foundation is very much an alliance of individuals, and each Wayfinder has distinctly different personality.
Okay.
Yay!
And I think the Wayfinder Foundation is the technically the I think that was used for RPGA sessions and scenarios.
Yeah.
So was kind of fun that they just put that in there. It's like, hey, here's the actual organization.
Yes.
So all right. So that fit. I had such high hopes for today. we're going to finish this off. It was going to be all done.
And here you are being like, Seraphis, stop crushing my dreams.
Yeah, well, yeah. I did. Anyways. All right.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I actually have to go because I've got to get to, anyways, all of my rest of my stuff. You've got kids and all sorts of things going nuts. Any final thoughts before we end for the day?
I
liked how they covered those. I was not expecting pretty much every single organization to be like, yeah, we're all horrible people. Even the Wayfinders Guild was like, hey, this is like the Super Adventure, fun club. It's like, no, this is like a dude's whole personal pet project because he's dying, and he doesn't care what he has to do to get, a solution.
To be fair, in the Explorer's Guide, they do kind of flesh out the Wayfinders more, and there is a large group of a large portion of the Wayfinders Foundation that is really geared towards a more altruistic.
I get that.
Yeah. But yeah, between what the council the council does and Dane, there's dodgy elements at the top, but everyone else is kind of cool.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right. And that was but that was the best one of all the organization. Even for all my jokes about the Silver Flame, it's straight up saying, yeah, this is shady 8 ways from Sunday.
Oh no, undead and ghouls undead are overrunning our village. Help us. No.
We got other things to do.
But you're paladin. You could just turn undead. It's not going to hurt you at all. No. No.
Anyways, but yeah, this was a fun one to go through, even realizing that pretty much everyone sucks.
Every organization basically has its faults.
Sure. No, I know, but I wasn't expecting so much, hey, these are all these cool organizations we told you about. Now here's why they're horrible.
Yeah.
Aww. So, all right. Well, folks, thank you so much for hanging out. If you are new here, please do hit the like and subscribe button. We absolutely would appreciate it. Also, if you are, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. There are links to Drive Through RPG down in the description, where if you want to pick up your own copy of the Eberron campaign setting, you can do so. But other than that, folks, thanks so much for hanging out, and we will... tomorrow I will have another live stream. I'm still not completely decided on the subject. But we'll see who decides to show up for it. But we will be there. So, on that note, thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
Booby.